What's up, family? Welcome to Mini Bytes session 73. My name is Erin McCluskey. I'm a mindset and performance coach. I work with leaders to redefine professional and personal definitions of success. I also teach the language of self-care. It's great to have you here today. There is a lot going on right now, really good stuff. Staying active. I like to use the word active and not busy. So, just to mention a few things before I dive into the topic of fight or flight. Number one, my next live event is October 11th. The topic is redefining success, addressing professional and personal isolation. So it's a really interesting topic. It's been inspired by some of my recent work and research, and we're going to dive deep into understanding what is professional and personal isolation all about, why do we do it, how does it show up in the workplace and in our personal lives. Next, be on the lookout for promotions of my upcoming certification course in mindset and performance to take place in November. So be on the lookout for invitations for that. In the meantime, you can just also go to my website, erinjewellcoaching.com, ErinJewellCoaching, and you can register right on the site. And finally, I will be launching my very first book at the end of this month called Redefining Success, A Leader's Guide. I'm incredibly excited about this. My editor, William Repetto, has just been a fantastic resource during this process, so be on the lookout for that as well. Okay, so fight or flight. This is it. I have to say I'm really excited about this particular topic, talking about it today because, and I get excited about all of the mini bite sessions, this one is something that I really resisted earlier on in this part of my journey, going back to December 2012, when I first began to recognize the need to make a change, that things weren't going the way they could be in my life. One of the areas where I immediately started resisting was this part of me that was able to put out fires, and this part of me that was able to navigate with composure in crisis situations, this part of me that was able to show up powerfully in sort of crisis mode, the rock in me. I very quickly began to judge that side of me because I believed at the time that a lot of my troubles were being caused because of my desire or my really ability to fix things or help people or navigate with ease and composure. I literally had a job that had me supporting cases in the operating room that, patients died on the table. And sometimes patients, many times, most of the time, patients were saved on the table. That being said, very high stress situations that required me to maintain composure. And that was certainly easier sometimes than other times. But so when I embarked on this part of my journey, where I decided to take things deeper in my life, deep in my spiritual practice, take some leaps of faith, start a couple of businesses on my own, I really started resisting this part of me that happens to be a really wonderful gift of mine. And just like any other gift, it needs to be cultivated. So, you hear other people give you feedback about the gifts that you have, and it's not always supported. And sometimes you start to believe those stories. And that sort of happened for me. And I'm happy to report that our ability to go into fight or flight response is totally a gift. It's a complete gift. It's in our DNA, and it's a part of what makes us human. And it's not something to be ashamed of, and it's not something to resist. And in fact, it's something to embrace. And it is not the source of stress. It is not the source of stress. So I'll give you an example. And this was recently mentioned in the article, in an article in Time Magazine, where it talked about when we were cave people and the saber-toothed tiger was coming after us, we had to go into fight or flight mode to survive. When the saber-toothed tiger was gone, we no longer had to find ourselves in that fight or flight response, and we would enter back into rest or digest mode, kind of going back to baseline. In fact, at the time, our brains weren't even big enough to handle the rumination of sort of worrying about what was to come. So you see, even way back in the day when we were being chased around by tigers and we were prey, not just regular tigers, really big tigers with really big teeth, that wasn't the problem. The problem was not the stress response. The problem was that has become the lack of the ability for people to step out of that stress response and back into the normal state of rest and digest, and to be able to fluctuate. So that's really what today's message is about. It's number one, fight or flight mode is a gift. It is not a stress. It is not what causes the stress per se. It causes you stress. It causes good stress. But all the chronic, unhealthy manifestations that take place are really more about the person's inability to come back to baseline, which number one gives us a lot more power, and number two helps us recognize the gifts that we do have. You see, when I moved to Hawaii, I did at one point try to isolate. I tried to sort of put myself in a bubble and keep myself from having to experience events that put me into fight or flight mode because I was afraid of it. I thought it was something that would bring on additional stress in my life. I thought that was my problem. That really wasn't the problem. We're supposed to find ourselves in that state of fight or flight. We're also supposed to find ourselves in the state of rest and digest. So just wrapping up this message with number one, recognizing the gift that is those of us who are able to navigate through crisis situations with composure. These are all really positive things. The work for people like us, and I believe all humans possess this, the work for us as a humanity is being able to come back to baseline and almost forgetting that we have a big enough brain to ruminate, pretending that we don't. And once the stress event is completed, we're okay and we're sort of back to normal. So love you all. Until the next time.